Hello everyone, I am Murali Shankar, a Senior Solution Architect here at AWS in FSI Vertical. I am pleased to introduce Abhi, AVP of Software Engineering at Radian Group. Abhi has been instrumental in leading one of the most significant GenAI implementation at Radian. In today's presentation, focus on Radian Virtual Assist, a real-world example of enterprise scale Gen AI deployment that has transformed how Radiant's operations and underwriting team interact with critical business information. This isn't just another a chatbot implementation, it's a comprehensive enterprise solution that has achieved remarkable efficiency gains with 70% reduction in guideline triage time and 96% positive user feedback. Abhi will walk us through the journey from the conception to implementation, sharing valuable insight on building a secure, scalable AI platform that deliver measurable business value. With no further delay, I'll hand over to Abhi. Abhi, over to you.
Thank you, Murali. Appreciate the great introduction that you kind of does. Hard to beat that. So I'm Abhi. I'm the AVP of Software Engineering of Radian Group. So Radian has been serving the mortgage and the real estate ecosystem for decades, and the recent years, we have been focused on harnessing technology to simplify processes, improve access to information, and deliver better outcomes for our customers and teams. I think we already alluded to it earlier, but today I'll kind of share the story of one of our recent innovations, secure enterprise-ready AI capability that is helping our teams get to the right information faster and more importantly, work more efficiently. Rather than kind of diving into too much technical specifics, we will go through the technical specifics, but kind of my goal is to walk you guys through the business challenges that we faced, kind of the approaches that we took in terms of solving them, the measurable results that we have achieved so far, uh, all while keeping the security, governance, and scalability at the forefront. So let's get started. So from an agenda perspective, I think as I alluded to earlier, we'll kind of go over the problem statement, kind of the overview of Radiant Virtual Assistant, do a little bit of discussion on what the architecture is, with a heavy focus on our AWS services that we have been utilizing. As usual, being a regulated financial industry, security, compliance, observability, they come to the forefront. Lessons learned, and some insights into looking ahead into our future, right? Um, so let's spend a little bit of time in terms of business problem statement, right? I think um, what we found out in terms of our use case, a lot of our experts, specifically from our operations team, they are spending way too much time in kind of finding the right information. Specifically, training new staff takes a lot of months. For example, if you guys have kind of seasoned individuals in the operations team, they know where the information are pretty easily. So for them, it's not a matter of going to page 55 of this PDF for 1,000-page PDF and get this information. It's very easy for them. However, new employees, new members, folks who are kind of at the junior level, for them to get the right information when they're supporting customers, whether it's internal or external, perusing through 1,000 pages of PDFs and things like that, that is a big ordeal. And that reduces a lot of efficiency. And I think one of the co-presenter before earlier mentioned that, at the end of the day, you want the human to focus on high value kind of information, high value things rather than these quick hit monotonous things. So we realized that there was a growing pressure kind of to reduce the friction in terms of the knowledge access. So we wanted to use this use case and the problem statement and the whole crux and the premise of Radiant Virtual Assistant was to kind of figure out a secure way to get to the right information to the right people faster, more efficiently, without kind of re-architecting our entire business. So just kind of a quick sneak peek on what our kind of the front end of the Radiant Virtual Assistant application looks like. It is an enterprise Gen AI assistant that is for our operations and our support teams from the business side. Obviously, it gives you that natural language interface for kind of asking questions, triaging guidelines, and so on and so forth. It also, from an architecture perspective, has this kind of modular foundation to plug into multiple knowledge sources. So, for example, we created this enterprise application with a thought in mind that it's not just one business line we can cater to, but multiple business lines within our kind of like enterprise. And one of the things I kind of want to focus on is why we thought about Radian Virtual Assistant as an enterprise application. It's not just a chatbot. It's a platform that we want from a trusted, scalable AI across the enterprise. Kind of from our kind of vision perspective, we wanted to ensure that it is that one enterprise assistant that can support multiple use cases across the enterprise, whether it's MI operations, whether it's our vendor management kind of like business line or our title business, and so on and so forth. We wanted to ensure that we have these unified knowledge layers so we can search across SharePoint, Confluence, any other kind of internal systems. We wanted to ensure that we avoid bot sprawl because, with the advent of RPA a little while ago, we didn't want to create like separate bots for disparate systems, right? And that's one advantage of having these enterprise application. Having the enterprise grade governance, centralized control, auditability, scalability, which are kind of key cornerstones of any financial services industry. And obviously, we wanted to kind of design something for scale. We wanted to future-proof so that we have available integrations to our other internal applications in the future with AI agents and our CRM platforms. Just a little bit of highlights in terms of what our key differentiators is. I'm not going to read through every single kind of bullet points, but as you can kind of like see, the main thing that I want to highlight out here, as I've been talking about, is the unified knowledge access, right? Like the instant access to thousands and thousands of policies across operational units to break that siloed search. I'm pretty sure everybody on this call have heard the word siloed within their organization in some shape or form, right? Using this tool, we wanted to break that access so that knowledge can be quickly and more efficiently accessible across the organization. I think everybody has also heard this, smarter, not harder, right? So reduces kind of the reliances on memory. Nowadays with this application, our operations specialists don't have to rely on memory. They can easily inquire through our Q&A interface, get the answers in milliseconds, and basically take to their next steps of taking the right decisions that is needed for their job. So it empowers the teams to focus on decisions and not document hunts. And obviously, one of the things that I alluded to earlier, faster ramp up, right? Kind of specifically new hires who come in, it's very hard for them to get trained specifically on operations on our mortgage and MI side. So, having these complex questions or complex inquiries, they don't have to spend days and months getting trained. The ramp up is much faster thanks to our kind of GenAI powered assistant within the application. So just a quick kind of like outcomes in terms of benefits. I think in the intro speech, Murali kind of alluded to a little bit earlier. I'm a big believer of quantitative plus qualitative KPIs to keep track of the application success. So I think based on what we have kind of like garnered from our user base, I think we have achieved almost like 70% faster access to our procedural guidance. Training ramp up is almost 30% less than what is there before. And as and when the application grows, I anticipate this number to be going higher and higher. We just released this application almost 5 months to 6 months back. And within 6 months, we are seeing so much benefits in terms of the training ramp up. And I think this metric was also provided by Murali earlier. As I said, I'm a big proponent of collecting kind of real-time feedback. So having that positive sentiment in the user feedback in terms of the accuracy of the answers that they're getting was very important to me, and that's kind of like showing out here in the metrics that we have collected. So talking a little bit in terms of the overall architecture, rather than kind of diving into component by component, I just want to kind of like talk through. When we set out to kind of build this capability, right, our main priority was trust and accuracy of the information. We wanted to make sure that the operations team that was utilizing this tool, they were getting the right and the accurate information in a more efficient way. And in this way, they build the trust. So that was the most important key thing for us. And that's where kind of like AWS knowledge base for Amazon Bedrock kind of came in. Instead of our teams kind of searching through countless files, the knowledge base allowed us to connect directly to our trusted content sources. When somebody asked the question, the system did not only understood, but it goes back to our verified content, pull all the right pieces, and kind of builds an answer that is accurate, relevant, and traceable. From there, I mean, AWS makes it extremely simple to layer in enterprise-grade security. I think the responses that we have is pretty much defined by the user roles and permissions. So they basically are able to access or see what they're authorized to. Nobody is being kind of taken to a particular knowledge base that they're not authorized to it. And that is also kind of managed through our role-based access control and permissions. Obviously, because it is built on AWS, as you can see from this architecture diagram, we also get that elastic kind of scalability, whether we have, handful of users in the current state or at least during the pilot, to hundreds of users across the departments. I think the performance still remains the same, which I've kind of talked about: fast, reliable, and efficient. And also, as you can kind of see how our application kind of dives into or integrates with the AWS knowledge base through our kind of Lambda functions and the buckets to kind of like store the raw data, we have kind of kept it as modular as possible, right? So tomorrow, if you want to connect to a new data source or support a new business function, we can easily kind of plug in without having to rebuild that entire kind of like foundation. So that's the kind of like future proofing that obviously kind of helps us moving forward. I think I've talked a little bit already about kind of security, observability, and governance throughout the course of this presentation. As I talked about before, we are utilizing role-based access control for controlling our knowledge-based authorization, and any sort of kind of like prompt logging and all of the traceable ground citations are ensured that we are leveraging CloudWatch, CloudTrail, AWS services to monitor everything and ensure that we have the right level of data separation and guardrails. All right. So just from before I go into kind of the future of what it looks like looking ahead, I wanted to take a little bit of time in terms of the learnings and the key takeaways, right? I think this was also mentioned by my previous presenter, Sujit. Start small, right? Start with one use case, but think from an enterprise perspective in how to build a platform. Business user feedback, I cannot stress that enough. That is your North Star. I think, whether you want to call it human in the loop, whether you want to call it ground truth data, getting that user feedback is absolutely critical to operationalize GenAI. Invest early in observability and security hooks, right? I mean, we are in a regulated industry. I think it is very important for us to kind of invest in those aspects of things early and not as an afterthought. And obviously, cross-functional buy-in is absolutely critical, whether it's operations, legal, IT, security. Having the buy-in from all stakeholders across the gamut is extremely important, and not just the business stakeholders. Just from a future perspective, RVA is just the beginning. We wanted to kind of like, with the advent of agentic architecture now, obviously we want to leverage more AI agents for cross-system orchestration. We want to utilize our application a little bit more in terms of, providing these proactive KPIs from report rather than static reporting. And also we wanted to kind of like use more natural language way of interacting to get an access to these enterprise insights. And my final message, I think this is the final message. I guess you guys will all see as the course of the theme from all the presentation. I think the rapid AI adoption is very real. I'm glad to be part of the organization that is embracing it and kind of like leading it by embracing AI and delivering innovation at speed. Specialized AI agents will unlock exponential efficiency. I think Radian Virtual Assistant gives that kind of like Q&A approach to get the specialist get the knowledge information faster. But more and more introduction of AI agents will help kind of streamline workflows, reduce a lot of manual effort, and accelerate outcomes. And I think, as part of our kind of like future, the modular plug and play architecture is absolutely built to evolve. I think utilize these components of AWS knowledge base and the services that we have been utilizing. It'll allow seamless upgrades and kind of fast integrations to technologies without disrupting our business operations. Last but not the least, I mean, it's a force multiplier. I think it's a low maintenance and a high impact solution that we have built. I think our AI-driven platform, will scale rapidly across the use cases while keeping cost contained because, maintaining that cost while innovating across in the future is extremely important. Anyways, I think I spoke a lot, but thank you for the time. I appreciate and I hope I was able to share some of the success stories. With that, I will turn it over to the next presenter, Jigna. Thank you.